Hello and welcome back to Too Many Books. My name is Sean and today we have a Suntup Editions unenveloping. This, my friends, is an Occurrence at Owl Creek Bridge by Ambrose Bierce, which is a chapbook release from Suntup Editions. It's not the first chapbook release from Suntup Editions. That belongs to the Telltale Heart. Not the Hellbound Heart, that's this month's release. No, the Telltale Heart by Edgar Allan Poe, which was released a couple years back along with the Poe collection. But anyways, a couple years later, here we are in the tail end of 2025, and Paul has announced that he is going to do his own little brand, his own imprint of short stories, getting the fine press treatment. And he is starting off with none other than the classic Civil War story, An Occurrence at Owl Creek Bridge by Ambrose Bierce. If you're not familiar with Bierce, he himself was a veteran of the Civil War, the American Civil War. And this is a remarkable short story of a man's resilience. A man's about to be hung, and he has a resilience to survive. And, well, you are going to see his will to live in full force. But now this has one single illustration, but it is printed directly from the original woodblock here by Jane Randfield. Kind of similar to the woodblock illustration by Rosemary Fate Covey back in the Telltale Heart. And I'm intrigued to see what future titles Paul does. I mean, he's kind of entering this same field that like No Reply Press has done. They've done plenty of short stories, or Conversation Tree has done their short stops, or Perfect Player Press is getting into short story territory. And look at the watermark on this. I will say that the paper on this is absolutely exquisite. You can hopefully see that watermark there. This is mold-made Hanamulle Biblio paper. It is exquisite quality. I mean, this is for higher-end limited editions to begin with. And here we are using it on this wonderful little chapbook. Which, I mean, the rights to the chapbook, it's public domain. The story itself is 135 years old. You could read it for free. I believe you can also watch the short film for free. It was adapted back in the 60s into an Oscar-winning French short film, which then got licensed by Rod Serling as an episode of The Twilight Zone. So, I have no problem showing you all these pages one by one if you wanted to read it in the video. Although you can, like I said, just read it for free online. I'm sure Project Gutenberg has a free version. But this is, of course, signed by the publisher, who is Scott Weil, and by Jane, the illustrator, Jane Randfield, which is exciting. Now, this was limited to 400 copies. It's sold out almost immediately, so you do have to go to the secondary market if you want a copy for yourself. If you just want a fancy letterpress printed copy and you don't want to spend secondary market prices, there are still copies available of Copperhead Press's own edition, which I don't have here to do a side-by-side, but I kind of want to buy it just to do a side-by-side. So, unfortunately for Copperhead Press, one cool thing that Copperhead Press did is they had announced that they're going to do their own short story line called Lasting Echoes. And they announced their first 3 titles, and unfortunately for them, one of those titles is An Occurrence at Owl Creek Bridge. They're also doing some, they're doing Anton Chekhov, and they're doing The Doll's House. So they have 3 titles they're doing at once. But unfortunately, one of them happened to be timed at the exact same time as Suntup's edition. Now, that one is still available. That's actually more limited than this one. This one was 400 copies. That one's only 100 copies. It is a little bit pricier than the cover price of this one. This one cover price was originally $65, pre-order price. The edition from Copperhead is $90. But it's still cheaper than what this has been selling for in the secondary market. I know a couple copies just sold for like $200, so it's cheaper than that. It'd be interesting to see them side by side. It does have a smaller trim size. This one is 9 1/4 by 6 1/4. Copperhead's 8.5 by 5.5. It does have 3 illustrations. One thing that is really cool about Copperhead's editions, about all of their chapbooks, is that they are working with recent art graduates from southern Utah. Copperhead is, of course, based in Utah. And so these are new fledgling artists who are trying to get out in the world, and Copperhead is welcoming them with open arms so they can kind of present these new artists to the fine press landscape to get them out there. And then a generous portion of the proceeds from those chapbooks are being donated to those artists so that they can continue and work on their artistic careers, which is pretty cool. So, like I said, you can either buy a copy of the Suntup edition on the secondary market, or if you do want a nice letterpress edition without paying the secondary market prices, there is also the Copperhead edition that is still available from Copperhead directly. Like I said, I'll probably buy that, and I'll do a nice little side-by-side video if you wanted to see the differences. But definitely check out An Occurrence at Owl Creek Bridge by Ambrose Bierce. A superb short story. I'll put a link in the description below to some sort of public domain version that you can read for yourself. If I can find the short film on like YouTube, for example. I think it's on YouTube. You can just watch that below as well. But anywho, Ambrose Bierce has also been covered by Suntup Press. If you want a larger volume of Bierce's works, I believe he's got a library of weird fiction. I don't think he had a larger, like, Masters of the Weird Tale. I think it was just a library of weird fiction, but it's a nice little compendium volume. I think I unboxed on this channel. That certainly carries An Occurrence at Owl Creek Bridge and a whole lot of his other works as well. But anyways, thank you guys very much for watching. I'm really excited to see what Suntup does with these short stories, although it's going to hopefully they don't crowd the market between all these publishers button heads. You know, you got your shortstops, you got Perfect Player Press, you got Suntup entering the fray, No Reply Press is kind of doing their own thing, and then of course you have Lasting Echoes now from Copperhead. So lots of short stories to go around in fine letterpress editions. Hopefully they can all find some space and work together and, you know, not butt heads and chew out the competition from each other. But anyways, thank you very much for watching. Be sure to subscribe to the channel here if you want to see more unboxing videos. I do one full book review a week, plenty of unboxing videos in between here and there, including plenty of other Suntup titles as well. But anyways, check out Suntup Editions, and we'll see you around next time.